Starting.
There you go.
Ah, we're live. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Aldo is not here, so Zoe and his stupid brain is trying to figure this out.
I'm going to have a lot of Bird Box jokes today.
Oh,
That's not good. Why won't
Maybe not jokes, but
did you
just...
see Netflix had to actually put out a warning?
Yep.
Yeah, because
People are so stupid that they're doing Bird Box like Tide Pods.
Yeah, right.
That's Bird Box Tide Pods.
Hey, we have a viewer. Who the hell's watching this?
Dad?
It's probably Aldo on the plane. He's like, I'm going to stalk him.
Aldo, why would you pay for the Wi-Fi for this?
Is he on his way out of Chicago?
Oh my God, it won't let me click the link. Now I got it. Gotcha, bitch. All right. Let me tweet this out. This is just quality stuff right now.
Ooh. Brent Musburger will be interviewing David Stern during the CES conference next week. Random.
All right. Deal with me here for a second. I'm going to tweet this out.
Can we plug...
You plug whatever the fuck you want.
Can we puck the fig?
Oh, no. Don't do that. We'll keep that in-house, Chief.
Are you drinking, Kev?
It's dry January, man. No, I got Red Bull.
Okay, there you go. Me, I'm going to get loose. I got 2 beers.
Me too.
It's going to be a long month.
We still have... Sober Annuary, that's what it's called.
Sober January. That sounds terrible.
After New Year's Eve, it's okay. My liver says thank you.
Oh.
Hold on. It's getting there. Almost done.
Did you tweet yet or what? We have our shit together, everyone. Yes, we're live. We've been live. And
all right. First of all, Aldo's not here. So I'm trying to figure this out for the first time, and I'm tweeting it now. So
he's learning.
Don't you work for a tech company? Aren't you?
Yeah. I can secure the shit out of this live for you.
Is your shit secure? You better make sure you're recording too, by the way.
I know. Wait, how do you record?
Oh, no.
There's no record button.
I hope it's recorded because this is what Aldo does.
No, he just say it's live, and then when you stop the broadcast, the video goes to your page, and he pulls off that.
Okay. All right. I'll trust you on that one.
Copy. Ooh. Is it on the Twitter?
In 1 second. You guys can keep talking. There's like 5 people watching.
What?
Yep.
We have 5 people watching already?
My dad?
It's Chris, East, and Buzz and Kyle.
Hold on. Hashtagging it up.
Oh.
Spelled hot wrong. Damn it.
Why aren't you doing that on the computer? On the computer.
Because I'm quicker this way.
CPU?
Old man.
You're good with these interwebs.
Yes.
The tweeter.
These aren't the drones you're looking for.
Oh, there it is.
I think I did it right. How come when Aldo does it, a little box pulls up? Whatever.
Why does it always pull my mug? Because I'm always the one talking.
Yep.
Shit.
Are
you going to retweet from SM or you want me to?
I got it.
Shouldn't. Oh, geez, we let the secret out.
It's not a big secret.
It's a big secret.
Hey. That's nice.
What? They signed Harper and Machado at the same time?
No. Could you imagine?
That would be a head explosion.
So here's another thing to talk about. What if who is actually going to believe the person that breaks the trade? Unless it's Rosenthal or Heyman.
Yeah, if it's not one of the big guys, I'm not doing it.
What if it's Stadium, though?
No. Jerry Reinsdorf owns that company.
Broke the Yonder Alonso trade.
Fair enough. All
put
right, guys.
Manny in a Sox uniform today.
Let's start this bad boy. Hello
Let's
to our
the fig.
hello to our 5 viewers. This is weird because Aldo's not here, so I can actually see the viewer count now. It's kind of weird, but anyways, all right, ready?
A click farm in India.
3, 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, January 4th, 2019, and you have found the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. Happy New Year to everyone, and thank you for sticking with us in this new year. I am your host, Matt Zawoski. They call me Zoe, and with me, as always, Matt. I think that's Matt and Nuko. I can't tell with that manly beard. They call him Nuke. What's up, Nuke?
Don't make fun of my man.
Man. And with us, coming from Vegas, our very own Mr. Kevin Fiddler. What's up, KFidds?
What's up, fellas? And you guys both have excellent facial hair.
Thank
Strong.
you. It is strong. I appreciate that. And this is
Appreciate.
You might notice that we're down a guy, man down. The wonderful, talented Aldo Soto is not with us today. He is not dead. That sounded weird. He's actually just flying right now, coming back from a family vacation or, holiday stuff. But I'm in charge of this broadcast, so if it sucks, I got 2 words for you. So we have a we have a jam-packed show for you. A lot of stuff going on right now. Before we dive into the madness that's going on, we do want to talk about the Cubs hiring a new bench coach. And then we're going to get into it was a wild Thursday on White Sox Twitter, everyone, with Manny Machado stuff. So we're going to break down what happened there. We're going to talk a little bit of timeline, what's going on with the Manny Bryce stuff, and just basically our overall thoughts on if this is good for the game, where this is bringing baseball, things like that. And then we're going to bring it home. I have a surprise for the end of the show because I know this is a baseball show, but we have a little bit of a football game going on Sunday. And me being in Chicago and Mr. Nuke being over there on the East Coast and a Philadelphia fan, we're going to put together a little bit of a show wager.
Okay.
I'm in. Nothing crazy, no financial, just I have an idea and we're going to see. It might be a little timid by some people's standards, but we can add to it. But we're going to do a show wager at the end of the show. So with all that being said, sorry if I'm a dick. I'm 2 days smoke free, but I still rock the Juul. Let's tap this keg. This show is brought to you by Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Make sure you download the app and put on those push notifications. So as soon as Manny or Bryce signs, you will know before anyone else. You want to be that guy. You're going to be that guy to be like, oh, did you hear? And that's because you have the Sports Mockery app with the push notifications on. And a big shout out to our show sponsor, tickblitz.com, TIXBLITZ.com. No hidden fees, guaranteed tickets. Type in promo code Mockery to get an extra 5% off your purchase. But I saw something that he compared purchasing 2 tickets on a competitor's website versus his website. And with all the fees and everything like that, you saved like almost $2,000. It's unreal for Bears playoff tickets. So tickblitz.com, TIXBLITZ.com, promo code Mockery to get 5% off. And as we do every week, it is the tickblitz.com stat of the week. This one coming to you from Las Vegas. Mr. KFidds dropped this one on me. Only 8 contracts, 8 in this MLB free agency period have been signed for 3 or more years. What does that tell us, my little non-swimmers? That tells us that a lockout is looming, and that sucks. But these GMs know what they're doing. If they're not signing long-term deals, they think that something's coming up on the horizon. It's scary to think because it's going to, just like the last lockout, probably screw over the White Sox. So that is the tickblitz.com stat of the week, TIXBLITZ.com stat of the week. Whew, I'm going to take a drink.
That was well done. That was a good plug. And that was all impromptu. That was like off the cuff. Well done. You get better at this.
12 years of sales, man. So before we get into the Cubs' new coach,
always be closing.
I see you holding it up. We haven't done it in quite some time, But it's a new year. The
Yeah.
show is back. We got to get this show back on the tracks. We've been so excited, like a JoJo the Indian Circus Boy with a pretty new pet, and we got to get back on track. Matt and Nuko, what is the fancy bitch drink of the week?
It's sudsy. Has a floral bouquet. Little hint, little bitter, little IPA-ish. We're going with a beer if you didn't figure that out yet.
Look at you.
It's a very pedestrian Sierra Nevada. But I have another pedestrian Dogfish 60-minute next to me.
Now, did you choose that because you were speaking to someone in Nevada at this moment?
Ooh,
Hey.
maybe.
Hey.
Or it could have just been. It was what was left over after Christmas.
But, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to notice that Matt and Nuko grew a beard, and instead of drinking wine, now he's drinking beer. So I think Santa Claus gave someone testicles for Christmas.
Well, there's nothing better than having wine in the facial hair doesn't taste as good, the leftover extra wine, but beer in your facial hair is always a good late lick.
You just pucker up a little bit and let those, let the bristles of the mustache kind of like enhance the, it delays the palate a little bit. It enhances, stretches out the complexity.
Yeah, you know what? That does that too for mine. I'm rocking a Busch Light. Suck it, suck it, nerd.
I think you just swallowed the can.
Yeah. And KFidds is enjoying his sober annuary. He's drinking a Red Bull after his vegan dinner. Oh, no.
Oh, man. That is a sharp haircut. Goodness.
Nuke, what did you do to him? He's only been on the show like 3 times, and you already got him going to vegan dinners and drinking Red Bull.
Listen, he's a man of, complex taste.
He's a man of complex taste.
It's not super complex. Italian beef, extra juicy, sweet peppers were good.
Fair enough.
Make it bloody.
Fair enough.
All right, let's get to it here. Aren't we talking about Mark Loretta?
We're going to talk some Mark Loretta. So the Cubs hired a new bench coach, young guy. I think he's young for a bench coach. Was he 47?
47.
47 years old. Mark Loretta. He is going to be Crazy Uncle Joe's lieutenant in the Cubs dugout this year. Go right to you, Mr. KFidds. You're the resident Cub fan with Aldo out. Does this move the needle for you at all?
Yeah, it does. He's a well-liked locker room guy. He's played for. He's kind of one of those journeymen. He's played. I think the last team he played for was the Dodgers. Yep. He jumped around, I think, 4 or 5, 6 different organizations in his career, and I don't think I heard one bad review about the kind of guy he is. He kind of comes across a little bit like a Rossi, kind of maybe a little bit a looser, goofy, one of those types of characters that can keep the dugout loose and kind of can bridge that gap between old man Joe and the younger generation millennials. And he's an exennial. If he's 47, he's pretty close. He more than likely, was around during a early Star Wars film. So he can branch the bad Star Wars episode 8 with the the good Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6 with those guys. So I think it's a good move. It's hard to replace. I think Davey Martinez was a phenomenal bench coach, and so I think that you're almost trying to live up to the shadow of Davey before he went off to take over over in Washington. So bringing a guy like Mark Loretta, you're bringing in I'd have been fine with either Mark Loretta or Mark DeRosa. One of those two would have been fine with me, but they're both, he's a good dugout presence. He's someone that'll keep it loose, but he also knows the game. He's obviously he's valuable. He was used as a valuable piece as a journeyman with those other franchises too. So,
yeah, he spent 7 years in Milwaukee. Then he went over to Houston, San Diego, Boston, Houston, Los Angeles. So, you don't play for that many teams.
Everywhere, man.
You don't play for that many teams and go into that many clubhouses and be a cancer. But I found a surprising statistic that he led the league in one of his 2 All-Star years in 2004, in which he earned MVP votes. Can you guess what category he led the league in?
Hit by pitches.
Go ahead. Wait, hit by pitches?
Yeah.
No, but it's a selfless stat.
What position did he play?
It's a sacrificial stat.
Okay, sacrifice punts.
No.
Sacrifice flies.
Yes. 16 sacrifice flies.
Huh. Something the Cubs don't do super well.
If that doesn't tell you future coach, I don't know what does.
Listen, he's all about getting the job done. And that's important.
I would like to see
the value of sacrifice flies in the middle of the dugout.
I need a Venn diagram of the yearly leaders in sacrifice flies and guys that went on to be coaches. I feel like
go ahead, just do that play index on Baseball Reference. Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's not happening.
But see, abnormally, he had 16 sacrifice flies, and like he had like 1 in 86 games in 2002, 1 in 91 games in 2000. I don't know. Anyway, he's a 2-time All-Star. I agree with you, Kevin. I mean, a bench coach is like your guy that's supposed to be, good cop, bad cop in the dugout. The buck stops with the manager, but the bench coach is like kind of keeping a finger on the pulse of what's going on with the team emotionally and psychologically, and also, supposed to be a jack of all trades. So I don't know. To be honest with you, it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, it's cool. Joey Cora was still my favorite bench coach of all time, but
I wonder
what,
knowing what we know, and let's get back into the InfoWars section of our
we're going down such a rabbit hole in about 2 minutes, but go ahead.
Well, let's just prime the pump a little bit. Let's hit that little bubble on the lawnmower, the weed whacker, that you got to get that you enjoy watching fill up with gas. Let's do that.
Okay.
And I just love the smell of it. So we know Joe's on the hot seat. They haven't extended him. They're kind of like, good, we don't know necessarily what kind of terms, but it doesn't look good between Theo and Joe right now. And Joe Madden's son made it abundantly clear he's not happy either, for whatever that's worth. Is Loretta? He's 47. We know that there's a trend in the league to go younger and cheaper with managers. Typically, they're more analytic driven. And we even heard a rumor of one manager being fed information from the C-suite the whole game, and almost like as if decisions were being made up in the C-suite, not in the dugout. It was just relayed. So is this an apprenticeship? Because personally, I have a feeling that if the Cubs underachieve in the first half of the year, Joe's done. They'll just get rid of him mid-year. Is Loretta a guy that could step in? I don't know. He's a name.
Because he's not here. This is where Aldo would say you're crazy, and Joe's not going anywhere.
I don't think Joe's going anywhere.
Do you think they're going to do you think they're going to extend him though?
No.
I think that they're going to give it a test drive. I think some of it could be Joe maybe getting to that point where he's not sure if he wants to go after this year too. So why lock down something if you're not really sure? You give Loretta a test drive as a bench coach, and then you let him kind of see what kind of dynamic he has with the rest of the bench. If it doesn't work out, Joe sticks for another year. They bring in somebody else that might fit. Maybe Joe's going to be, a 1-year deal every time until they find that perfect shoe, and then pushes on. But
here's my thing.
This will be the third bench coach in 3 years.
I think what we need to ask ourselves here, does Joe want to be renewed?
Well, right. I think that's what Kevin was saying.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't think the 1-year deals are even happening though, is what I'm saying.
And I agree with you there, though. I don't think managers I don't think Joe is content with being the placeholder and just saying, "Hey, listen, you don't have anybody else? Sure, I'll do it for you. I'll jump on that grenade. I'll just let me know when you want me to leave." But at the same time, personally, I know that all Cubs fans can rebut with his record and 3 playoffs in a World Series or 4 playoffs in a World Series. Yes. But they underachieved last year. He is aging in a game where, sadly, I totally disagree with this, but it's all analytics, which I know Joe is still, pretty good with analytics. But if you want young, it's almost like town on the field. You want young, controllable talent. Can you get a young, wet behind the ears, kind of green manager who doesn't have very much experience, who is less willing to push back on management and can be controlled a little bit more.
I don't see Theo doing that because there's so much money on that field right now.
And I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Such a win now mode that everyone wants to talk about the window. When is it going to close? If they put a guy like Mark Loretta, who could turn out to be a Hall of Fame manager for all I know, guy loves sacrifice flies, could be great. But in a win now portion of this team, especially with rumors of them going out and still getting a big free agent, which we're going to talk about, I agree with you. I don't see them throwing a guy like him in there. I mean, if Joe does hang him up and he's like, that's it, going in my weird van, drinking wine, cruising, whatever, I'm done, I'm out, I can't see them turning the keys over to a guy like Mark Loretta right away.
Another stat for you. Mark Loretta was drafted out of
UNLV.
Northwestern University.
Oh, local.
Ooh, he's a smart kid.
Mm-hmm. So if we're talking analytics.
Which is fair, and I'm sure he's going to be a great bench coach. It's just, again, with talking about extending Chris Bryant and Rizzo and Javi Baez and these young guys, there's no way in my mind I can fathom Theo justifying a first-year manager taking control of this team. I can't see it.
See, I can get on board with that. I can get on board with that because you've got a huge payroll that could get bigger. You've got a lot of veterans and a lot of egos on that team and growing egos. I mean, whatever. We can talk about that in a whole nother segment. But you throw Loretta in there, who doesn't have much coaching experience, and he's all of a sudden supposed to handle that. But here's the rejoinder to that one. Alex Cora, Boston.
Okay, fair enough.
And and Loretta's coming from what? He's been working as an advisor with the Padres, right? Since 2010, 2009, which means he's got a little bit of experience with.
And he only retired in 2009.
Yeah, he actually was there working with the Padres organization before the big trade that landed Rizzo, and then of course, obviously, the big coup.
Are we talking ourselves into Loretta?
I'm
Is that what we just did? I think we just did. I think we talked Zoe into it.
No, the core thing is a valid point. I just still don't see it happening. I don't.
I think it's tough to see, especially after an underachieving year with the Cubs, where they struggled to produce offense. And Boston.
Especially if Theo doesn't get one of the two big free agents this year.
So let's talk about that.
No, hold on.
All right, I'm just got to slow me down a little bit.
We're talking. I've been chomping at the bit to talk about this on the show, so I'm not letting it get pushed to the side.
No. I'm still on the Cubs. Are you?
No.
Okay. I was sticking with the Cubs.
You put a bow on Loretta. We'll come back to the Cubs, but we need to talk about Thursday, January 3rd. The day that will go down as Machado Madness.
Machado Madness.
On Twitter. Hilarious day. So it starts out with Jeff Passan. All right. Just fresh face, fresh new ESPN gig, jacked. Throws out there that the Sox are going to throw down a 10-year deal. Everybody gets pumped. Yay. Then great grandpa Bruce Levine, whatever, comes back and says,
little prickly Bruce.
Yeah, I said great grandpa. I didn't even say grandpa. So great grandpa does his talk to text and tweets out that a very high-ranking White Sox official told him no more than 7 years, which not terribly wrong, because maybe they'll just do a higher AAV. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a huge deal.
Or maybe they were only talking about guaranteed years.
Yeah, or whatever. But so that Bruce was kind of a wet blanket, and then everyone liked to throw up the fact that Bruce said there's no way. A couple years ago, he said there's no way the White Sox would offer Yo Cespedes over a 3-year deal, and then it came out when it was all said and done, the Sox offered him 4. So that's where Bruce was at. And then
splitting hairs there.
No, well, he was wrong. This is the bottom. That's what we're getting at. He was wrong. And so then the real fun starts though. Later in the day. Oh,
get loose.
Oh boy, was this fun. So
tell him about your fever dream.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that too later in the show. But so Fox Sports Radio tweets out that David Vassay, Dodgers writer from AM 570 LA Sports, that David Vassay said Manny Machado is leading towards signing with the White Sox. He talked to someone that's extremely – stop sniffing your beer. It's beer. And he talked to someone that is very close to Manny, like as close as you can get. Quote is, I talked to someone who's very close with Machado, and they think he's signing with the White Sox. Okay, so they tweet that out. Delete that tweet. Everyone's going ape shit.
Oh, immediately delete that tweet.
Immediately delete that tweet. And then they try to retweet it by tweaking like 2 words. Like they changed an and to an if and like is going to a may.
Articles.
Yes. And so Max Wildscene tweets out at The Real DV says Manny Machado is leading towards signing with the White Sox. David Vassay then responds, that's actually not what I said. And then he gets hit with like 200 fucking replies of people with the recorded audio like,
yes, you did.
Yes, you did. Then homeboy David jumps on 670 The Score, Chicago Sports Radio, and he starts saying, that's not what I said. It's not what I said. He's walking this back so fast. I was actually nervous for David that he was going to break his neck when he tripped. And echo. All right. And so I was very nervous. So then that goes back. Now all of a sudden Fox Sports Radio is going all over the place. Someone definitely got fired today. I think we could all agree on that. And now, on the other hand, there's this guy named Dan Clark.
Uh-huh.
So
the villain.
Well, let me tell you about Dan Clark.
Enzo's nightmare.
Let's talk about Dan Clark. So Dan Clark, at Dan Clark Sports, he's a multi-award winning sports writer, member of the IBWAA, prior works with ABC, Fox, CSN, etc., creator of TBLDaily.com, don't know what that is, whatever, has 20K followers on Twitter.
He's Australian.
Yes, and he covers the Baltimore Orioles. Manny Machado is home for many, many years, and he's made many friends with these guys. He knows these guys. He said he talked to someone, and everyone kind of thinks it's Shoop. Talked to someone that's still close to Manny, and he said, slam dunk, 100%, Manny's going to the Yankees. And so I'm like, you know what? I believe you, Dan Clark. I really do. Good for you.
It sounds right.
Yeah, it makes it. And the way he's going over it. Yeah. And so I'm with you, Dan. I think you're right. And I think, it's going to happen. Manny's going to go to the Yankees. But
you still fucking hate him.
Well, because he starts for no reason trolling White Sox fans. Absolutely.
Because White Sox fans let him have it the moment that he said they were going to the White Sox.
There are a few luxuries in life, and that's one of them, I'll be honest.
Well, you know what? If you're got all these accolades and you have all this, fucking grow some skin, man. I thought Australians were supposed to be tough. You could tell, the pecking just got to him right away.
Maybe he's from New Zealand.
New Zealand, whatever. And so I know that's actually super insulting. Sorry, Dan. I don't mean to be a dick, but he starts tweeting all this stuff this video of some girl rejecting this guy on New Year's Eve, and he put, she's Machado, he's the White Sox. And it's
oh, yeah.
No point. And so all these people are saying, if Machado doesn't sign with the Yankees, will you delete your account? He's quote tweeting it saying, yes, and when he does, you can delete yours. Be better, dude.
I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah, what are you doing, man? I was with you, Dan Clark. I chalked it up. In my head, I was like, all right. So now all this stuff comes out. So now people are coming at Dan, and he's holding his ground real firm, but you could tell he's still getting aggravated by this.
Well, how about his morning tweet today?
Oh,
On
yeah.
this date in 1920.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So then today, or Thursday, on the Machado Madness Day, bright and early, he tweets out, on this day, 1920, the Yankees purchased Babe Ruth from the Red Sox. 1973, George Steinbrenner became the owner of the Yankees. 2019, question marks.
Immediately 700 retweets.
Yep. Because it's
10,000 likes.
He's riding the shit out of this wave, which he should. If he has
he's got to, right? He's got to.
If you have this big of a scoop, yes. I'm just saying, if Manny Machado signs anywhere else, not even with the White Sox, anywhere else besides the New York Yankees, this dude is done. Done. Like,
no, he's.
Are you kidding me? With this troll shit?
I mean,
he could just pull a Doug Gottlieb and just delete all the tweets that were incorrect and go back and look at it.
No, bro.
No, you know what I see?
Every tweet he has over 25 to 150 to 200 retweets. Like,
oof.
Oh,
it's out. He's out there, man.
He probably gained about 4,000 followers from this. But, I mean, listen, he might have a source, but he did provide himself that one caveat. Unless something changes, late in the deal, late in this.
And he did protect himself that. And like I said, I believe Dan Clark. I believe him too. I think Manny is going to go to the Yankees. I really do. And all this other stuff that's coming out, I have mentally prepared myself for Manny Machado to go to the Yankees. All I'm saying is, if you have this great scoop, you won, dude. If this happens, you won. Great scoop. Killed it. Just grow some thicker skin, man. Like, come on, dude.
Sometimes it's fun to punch downward, though. I mean, he's low-hanging fruit for sure, but honestly, I mean, White Sox fans have been pretty aggressive. I mean, you can't. I mean, I found this out, and I'm barely on Twitter. I mean, I'm a nobody when it comes to everything. And the minute I post something, about Bryce Harper going to anywhere but the White Sox, when I said the Phillies, I had 20, 30 White Sox fans jumping all over me. I'm like, I was just saying that I thought he's going to Philly. I didn't say anything about their mothers. I didn't say, and they jumped all over me like as if I just kicked their dog and then spit, on their front porch. It's not.
How dare you?
There's a little bit of like
edginess.
Yeah. And so the nastiness he's probably just returning volley a little bit. Should he punch down? No, of course not.
That's the thing, though. On a serious note, like, again, totally believe him with him on his side. I don't know. I guess when I read his bio and see ABC, NBC, all these other things,
You know what he is, though? I believe because he actually was one of the first ones to break that the Orioles were shopping him.
Oh, yeah. He nailed
earlier
that
in the year.
And then
he's a freelancer.
Okay.
He's not like Chuck Garfien is for the White Sox. You know what I mean?
Oh, I thought he was.
So I think he fills in. He strings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this for sure, but I know he does a lot of freelance stuff. So he may have been in for the Baltimore Sun or whatever the Baltimore paper is down there, or NBC, CBS, whatever. But he did have that earlier in the year, and he does get chippy. Because I started following him back earlier, probably in June, when he, mentioned that that Baltimore was going to sell him, was going to sell Machado. So I did. I followed him, and he does. He gets a little chippy. He punches back.
Right, and the reason why I believe him.
You're surprised, yeah.
Well, I'm surprised. Yeah, that's all. I mean, I don't know the dude from Jesus Christ. I don't know. He could be a complete asshole. He could be a great guy. I have no idea. This is what I'm seeing. And again, I think he has it. I think he scooped the world. I think he has everything because of who he is to the Baltimore Orioles. I legit believe that he talked to someone that's very tight with Manny, and he said Yankees 100%. Now, it is a little odd that this dude from the Dodgers, who probably also knows someone who's tight with Manny, is let it slip that he talked to him and Manny's is leaning towards the White Sox now. And I don't know. It's just, dude.
Are we segueing into what I think you are right now?
Just
into this whole nuts.
It's insane.
Information that's coming out and who to trust. And this is like an education on sources. I mean, several people on White Sox Twitter have kind of parsed it out as what, you know, where this type of information comes from. Like, where does Bruce get this information from? Clearly it's from somebody inside the organization who doesn't want to let the public know that, or wants to push back on the idea that we offered 10 years and high money. How dare we? No, we didn't. It was like 7 and 250. Yeah. You know, let the public know that, because then if Washington catches wind of that, maybe they'll be like, But if it's 10 and 7, and who knows, when it's like, well, who knows what the fuck's going on, you know? So, you know, whether you're getting it from the player, a friend of a player. I mean, like, you know, I played with Danny Valencia, and I remember sharing the Instagram pic, and it was like, you know, there's Machado, Valencia, Alonso, you know, all on the same course. That kind of blew up for a while. What does it mean? Who liked it? Did Bryce Harper like it? You know, it's like we're all trying to figure this out.
Right.
And there, you know, number one, from working as a journalist, I know that people that are inside those rooms who really know what's going on, they don't say anything because they don't want to get into it. They don't want to walk back into the room and have other people looking at them like, well, who the fuck leaked that? You know,
right?
Like, who knew that? Unless it was a calculated, measured leak. It's like, all right, yeah, you know, go call Ken Rosenthal and tell him, you know, X, Y, and Z. But Ken doesn't get duped. And there was a segment years ago with Bob Costas on MLB Network where I remember where they discussed this seriously, like the use of the media, the manipulation of the media to try and help negotiations one way or the other. For everyone out there, especially on White Sox Twitter or commenting on White Sox posts or under Cubs posts about, you know, the Cubs are in on Harper, the White Sox are going to get Harper, Machado's leaning towards the White Sox, and like, this is good for baseball. This is exciting. This is fun to figure out, to try and say, where are we? Does 7 years and 200 million sound more realistic than 10 years and 350 or 320? I mean, to me, it's like, I hear 7 and 200 and I'm like, that's insulting. Like, if I were Machado, I'd be like, no, and I'm not talking to you again, you know, go somewhere else. Go throw that at, like, you know,
right,
Adam Jones or something.
Don't you dare talk bad about Adam Jones. But anyways, I agree with you that this is great for baseball. And I think a lot of that, what you're talking about, just comes out of just mere frustration. I mean, we're all getting jerked around in 20 different directions. People are just sick of this shit. They're just sick of it, and they just want something to happen. You know, it's just, especially now in 2019, we live in an instant gratification like world. People don't have the patience anymore, and they want something to happen. And these guys are making life-altering decisions right now. This is the biggest
decision they're going to make in their young lives.
Correct.
26. This is their career.
This is the contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
The defining moment.
Yes.
And so, I think we talked about that too, guys. The longer this stuff lays out, the more veteran general managers, the ones that have a little bit more experience, that are no panic kind of guys, those types of GMs in this situation are probably going to be the ones that make the big deals. I mean, that's what Brian Cashman is willing to sit and say, I'm not okay with this deal. He's willing to say, walk, Manny, if you want to. Mm-hmm. And when you have someone that's willing to walk away from the table, someone that's willing to say, look, you're so pretty, I know, hey, whatever, but nah, you know what, you're asking too much, I got to go. And these guys are so used to never being told that they're not the hottest thing that it probably draws them more to those places, because nobody wants, you know, those types of egos don't want to be told they're not the best. So it's almost like, wait, no, you don't break up with, I break up with you. You don't break up with me. I break up with you. And so all of a sudden, that's why I think the Cashmans of the world are going to make these deals, because they're not acting out of desperation. If they don't sign Machado, the Yankees go on and they still already have a playoff caliber team. Whereas someone with the White Sox, or someone even the Phillies too, if they don't make this deal, there's going to be hell to pay now at this point, because the anticipation has grown so hard, like so high. It's at a fevered pitch, and anything less than signing one of these two guys, it's now a letdown for those two franchises that had the money to do it and just didn't do it.
And that's, I think desperation is a key term here, because I feel like as a White Sox fan, we are desperate. We out of the 3 teams that are in on Machado and Harper,
yes,
or one of the 2, we are the most desperate.
and that
because
goes back to
we're a 100-loss team. The Phillies, and let me just point this out. Neither Harper nor Machado won a World Series ring last year. Okay? So just because you get them doesn't mean you automatically win. It means you definitely got better as a team, but neither of those guys brought a World Series to either of their teams that they played for last year. So just keep that in perspective. Secondly, I do feel this squeeze or this pressure around the White Sox where it's like, if we don't get them, oh my God, we're going to spontaneously combust and just dissolve as an organization. The Yankees, they've got a playoff caliber team. They were in the ALCS 2 years ago. They just signed Tulowitzki for a absolute song. And now whether he can actually play to the level that he had in the past few years remains to be seen. I know he was undergoing a physical today, and his 1-year deal hinged on how that went. I didn't see any reports out of that yet. But literally, he could, if he's healthy, legit player. They still have Gleyber Torres. They have Miguel Andujar. They're young. They're going to develop. They still got Judge. Yeah, they've got a lot of players there. Didi Gregorius, he'll come back maybe a year later and be the same player he was, hopefully. The Phillies just crumbled at the end of the season last year. They could be desperate, but they have the confidence of having played 90% of the year last year well and in first place, and against a Washington Nationals team that has an envious, absolute embarrassment of riches on the pitching staff, and still has legit talent coming up in Victor Robles, and I forget the other outfielder's name, but he's legit too. So, the White Sox, yeah, we have all these guys too. We've got, Jimenez is supposed to be up this year. Luis Robert is supposed to be up sometime in the next 2 years. Zach Collins is supposed to be up sometime in the next 2 years. Maybe Nick Madrigal will make it up. But we've got this this whole contingent of pitchers that are going to be coming up. Dylan Cease. We're still waiting for, Lucas Giolito and Reynaldo Lopez to really bust onto the scene and really do what they're supposed to. So we are the most desperate. Does that make Rick Hahn go out and do something crazy, really crazy? I don't think so. And I don't think that's any reason for the White Sox for fans to go apeshit if they don't get them and feel like we've failed.
I'm actually looking forward to if, say, for example, doomsday scenario, sorry guys, Machado and Harper both sign elsewhere. I'm actually looking forward to the post-signing White Sox fan response, because it's going to be we didn't want him anyway. They were ugly.
Be a meltdown.
They're gonna downplay it. They're gonna say, "Well, I didn't want her anyway. We didn't want Harper. He sucks. He can't wait. Machado is this." They're gonna start bad mouthing the guys within 24 hours. They're gonna all of a sudden and that's normal. I mean, nobody likes to be rejected, and when you get rejected in as a fan, you kind of like, well, yeah, that guy's a turd anyway. Let's go. We'll do it ourselves. We got this. We got a great young farm system, and we're going to go out there and we're going to develop, and we're going to go out and do it and have sustained success while they're laboring in a 1-year wonder with a franchise that's hogtied with a bunch of money. We got all these young guys, blah, blah, blah. It'll work. And I actually do think that if the White Sox don't sign either one of these guys, the White Sox are still a year or two away, but they're going to be legit. Right. So whether or not they get Harper or not, that obviously expedites the process. But hey, you're waiting 2 more years for a World Series contending team is far worth it. It's absolutely. But it should be interesting to watch the fans as they get denied, how they kind of respond to someone that they thought was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and within 24 hours of basically a bag of dog turd.
Well, what happens if we get one of them? What happens if we get both? Zoe, do you want to speak for us?
Shit, I haven't even calculated.
I think you would smoke 10 joules at once.
Yeah, I don't think I've computed what would happen if we get both, because
this is the perfect time for you to share your dream.
I mean, so I've been a little bit under the weather, and I quit smoking.
Did you take NyQuil last night?
No, something else helped me sleep. But I quit smoking cigarettes. I've been smoking for probably 15-something years, so a little edgy. Took a little something helped me sleep and fell asleep real early. Had a crazy dream last night. So I had a dream that I was in my office at work, and all of a sudden the phone just went nuts. And it's because we got Manny Machado. And I just didn't do anything. I didn't even turn off my computer or anything. I grabbed my phone and I just left. I just left work. I put in my earpods, went right on Periscope, and I started screaming, "We got fucking Machado!" And I started, and I apologize, Dan, but I said, "Fuck you, Dan Clark." And I started going nuts. And I ran right into the bar, and I'm effing everyone that said it wasn't going to happen. And I just order a shot because no one's in the bar, and I take a shot of beer, and I'm just so happy. And I didn't even
beer.
A shot and a beer.
Oh, okay.
And I was
like,
like,
what kind of pansy are you?
Oh, look who grew a beard and got tough.
Who had his second beer?
And so, like, it's just funny to me that would bring me that much joy. I'm so invested. Now, if worst case scenario, let's say Harper goes to the Phillies and Manny goes to the Yankees, which is so very possible. Will I be disappointed? Yeah, just because big names like this with financial situations that the Sox are in don't happen. Like, this is just, to me, it's just all lined up perfectly. So I want this to happen so badly. If it doesn't, though, I need Han to immediately salvage the wound by getting, go grab AJ, go out there and fill some positions of need, and then just fuck with me. Tell me we're going to be in it for Nolan next year. You know what I mean? Like, and then you start looking and you remember you got an Eloy coming up. You have a great young pitching staff coming up. You get Michael Kopech back in 2 years. You got Lou Bob looming. You got kids coming up all over the place. Like, it's going to suck for a minute, but you got to just – I've seen too much shit, man. I'm too old for this shit. I'll take a deep breath and I'll just be ready to move on. But Han needs to go into plan B right away. Like, he can't.
Has to.
Like, if Manny signed. So we wanted to talk about timeline. So the White Sox apparently officially made an offer to Manny on Thursday. Okay, great. If you don't think Manny I don't even think Manny opened the email. I think he just clicked on it, clicked forward, and send to New York Yankees. And he was just there it is. What are you going to do? So great. They made him an offer. Again, biggest decision in this dude's life. He's not just going to be like, ooh, piece of candy. I'm on the White Sox now. So I think Manny's going to sign first. I'm very convinced that happens. And I think Manny's going to sign in January. I actually think in the next 2 weeks, we see Manny make a choice.
Really?
Yes.
You think?
Yes.
I see.
Bryce,
if you're asking me,
I know you're
it's late February. It's like it's pushing spring training, and it's still Machado first. But I mean, I was just scrolling through who's still available on the free agent market. I mean, gobs of people. I mean, it doesn't make sense to do it, and there's so many details that have to be hashed out. So I'm thinking Machado leaks it late February, mid to late February, maybe like a week or two before, or as pitchers and catchers are reporting. And I'd put Harper even later.
I'm gonna say this right now. I'm gonna put this down. I think Valentine's Day
for Harper.
I think Harper's he's gonna do something cute and clever.
This is coming from the guy that coached against him, so if he's cute. You know if he's got a flair for the dramatic.
Those guys, just seeing those pictures of them on New Year's Eve, I'm telling you, those guys are sappy, mushy, and I could imagine a bromance Valentine's Day announcement. If it's like I told you guys this last time too, if the longer this thing drags out, the better opportunity the Cubs actually have of maybe making a move, because again, things will start falling into place. But I just picture Bryce doing something like on Valentine's Day where it's like, I heart you wherever I'm going to. Something that just is clever enough where it allows them to kind of play around with.
What if he asks the city to be his Valentine?
Oh, see? And he could do it on social.
We did it for you, Harper. You heard it here first. We've done this before where we have it first, and then the next day it goes crazy. Harper, you heard it here. Will you be our Valentine? Love, Chicago.
North.
No.
North.
So I
they don't like beards up there. We allow beards down by us.
We'll leave. You want to talk about low hanging fruit? We'll leave those jokes alone. But so before you said that, Kevin, and that's a fantastic point. I could totally see that happening. In my head, it was Manny in January, Harper at the eve of spring training. The last 3 years, we've seen large deals happen on the eve of spring training. Last year being JD Martinez. I think
who is a Boris client, by the way, right?
Exactly. And so that's why in my head, Harper on the eve of spring training made a whole hell of a lot of sense. But the Valentine's Day, something cute, like dressed up like Cupid or some shit like that, or like something weird, I could see that. But I honestly, in my heart of hearts, and I've been following this thing hook, line, and sinker, I just think Manny is he's going to get it over with. I think he rips the Band-Aid off. I think he goes in January. And I think another reason why he goes in January is because if for some crazy reason he does go to the White Sox, he wants them to be able to make that secondary move. So he doesn't want them to miss out on another free agent. So if I'm Han, I'm sitting there going, Manny, let's do this.
Put the pressure on Manny
we
first.
Can go out and grab AJ to play center field. Like, let's figure this out, dude.
But at the same time, do you really pressure one of the two biggest, free agents like that?
It's just more laying it out. You want to come, we want to build this whole big thing around you. Let us build. Get here so we can start building. The longer you hold this off, the less time we have to build. And we might miss out on some of these people. So get here, sign the paper, come with your brother-in-law, which we haven't talked about, but I honestly think Homeboy did work over the holiday season. Manny posted a ton of shit of them together.
But they live 2 blocks from each other, and it's only 2 years. He's going to be there for 10, and Yonder's going to be in L.A.
Same rationale as New Year's Eve with Chris and Bryce taking pictures in the photo booth, and they might not have even hung out besides that moment.
Unless those pictures took 50 to 100 million off of a payroll, they can take naked pictures together all they want, and they don't have the money to pay Harper.
That was on Snapchat. That was different.
So, but do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's fine.
Totally.
But he's with this guy all throughout the holidays. He's with this guy probably right now. If you don't think it came up at least once or twice, you're lying to yourself. But on the same sense, I could easily see him being like, bro, I'm going to the Yankees. Cool, man. That's best for you. Go for it. Like, I could see that real easy happening too.
Honestly. And Kevin, I know you coached Chris Bryant, and you have former players that are that are pro ball players. They don't talk about that stuff all that often. They don't, do they?
No.
They like Yonder Alonso going up to Manny and being like, so which way you leaning, is like, doesn't happen.
How often do you go up to your close friends and start talking about
it
work?
might once. Yeah, right, exactly. Like, they all like kind of stay in their lane, especially when they're at that such a high level. You don't think
it came up once?
No, I mean, like, honestly, maybe it did. And if it was like a passing comment. Like
it's late at night. They both got
what do you think?
A glass of, scotch or something. They're outside smoking a cigar. You don't think he looks at him and just like, what are you going to do, bro?
No, because I've been around those guys sometimes, and they literally don't want to talk about it.
Well, Nuke, how about this? How often are you hanging out at a holiday party with family and you're talking about lesson plans? Do you really want to talk about lesson plans? Absolutely not. I don't think any social thing talk about.
Not unless I'm grieving about it. You know what I mean? I'm not like, hey, do you got these new ideas that you want to share with me?
I guess that depends on what your line of work is, though. Because me as a salesman for years and years, I'll go out with cocktails and guys will be like, hey, you ever think about coming over here? If you're good at, if you're worth the shit at what you do, guys are going to try to get you over there, especially if they're like a sales manager or something. I've had multiple talks where guys are like, oh, well, just so you know, this is our commission structure, or I can hook you up with this. If you ever want to make a change, hit me up. And that's good friends. That's
totally.
That's
networking.
One could also say that family also says, hey, let's leave the baseball talk out on the front doorstep. We're getting it enough from a million different angles. Can I please not talk about something like that when I'm here with family? And that is also a big thing too. So there could be just a longstanding agreement where it's just leave it.
now we're going back into what we were originally talking about, where this is all could be, maybe, I don't know.
But this is good for baseball.
I think this is great for baseball.
Isn't this fun?
Guys that are like notorious football guys on sports radio stations are tweeting about Manny Machado and Bryce Harper.
Right.
Everybody's talking about
captivated a nation.
It's not nearly as big because baseball is not as big as basketball in this country anymore. But as the decision year, when LeBron was a free agent and everybody was waiting for that shoe to drop so all the other big free agents can go. And the Bulls ended up with Carlos freaking Boozer. But anyways, it's great because all eyes are on Major League Baseball free agency right now. I mean, granted, we have the NFL playoffs coming up, which don't think you're getting out of this, Nuke. We're going to get into that in a minute. But that usually takes up – NFL is king. We all know that.
Right.
We're in the dog days right now of NBA. I mean, we're coming up to their All-Star break. Hockey is hockey. I love hockey, but
I have renewed interest in the NBA. I love it.
Yeah,
but I'm a Sixers fan, so
yeah. Well, the Bulls are a complete. If the circus took a shit and that shit grew a plant that died and then got shit on, that's what the Bulls are right now. So we don't even need to really talk about that.
So Jerry, so what does that mean for the Machado Harper sweepstakes? It means that Reinsdorf is pissed. And he wants to win at something. He's tired of being the laughing stock.
What team did Reinsdorf tell his kids to sell as soon as he dies?
The Bulls.
I think it was the White Sox.
It was the White Sox.
It was the White Sox.
So
no, he didn't. I thought he had like a special reverence for the White Sox.
I mean, I'm sure he has reverence for both of them, but the Bulls are the worst team in the NBA, and they're a complete circus fire, but they still sell out every game.
Right, exactly.
Here's my question, guys, too, and I think we might have even talked about this last time. Do you think Reinsdorf's failure as an owner, both franchises that he basically owns are absolute dog crap at the same time and are irrelevant in their sports? Do you think that plays in the factor of saying, hey, do I really want to sign with someone that can't put together a winning product? As many lawn darts as you throw out there, you can hit one damn leg.
I see the finger.
Counterpoint. I'm going to walk in there if I'm Jerry Reinsdorf and go, you want to be my next Michael Jordan?
Ooh.
But what if he's his next Carlos Boozer?
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing the what ifs. The man can go into any meeting and say, you want to be my next Michael Jordan?
Yeah, but how long does that last?
Yeah, but Bryce likes the bronze.
He's the biggest athlete of all time. Bryce liked branding. Who has a bigger brand than Jordan?
Oh, here we go with the branding stuff.
I can do this all day. I literally have time, and I got another 15 bush lights downstairs. But I
love it. I love it. Keep it going.
It's the Jordan brand. Michael Jordan, biggest athlete in the history of the world. He can walk in and say, you want to be my next Michael Jordan, to a guy who wants to get the BH34 brand off the ground.
There will only be one Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm. I know, but I'm just saying, Jerry might have a good idea on how an athlete can build a brand.
Maybe.
I think Nike knows how to build a brand. I think that
if you don't think Jerry, the businessman, had anything to do with it, you're nuts.
Jerry still thinks that John Paxson's a good, management material.
John Paxson is an obedient dog.
It's the worst thing to happen to the Bulls ever.
Yeah, he's an obedient dog, and so Jerry takes it. He's like, yes. John,
so wait a minute.
Mansion too. He's out of here.
So wait a minute. If Nike branded Michael Jordan, then the White Sox confirmed move to Oregon. Then Harper will sign with the White Sox in Oregon, Portland, right?
Our 8 viewers right now. I apologize. We just had 2 beers, and this is what happened.
I remember my first beer.
Yeah, Jesus. All right,
I got loose. I was getting in the flow. I thought we were in the circle.
Before
the trust tree.
Before the show ends, we got the Bears playing the Eagles in the NFL wild card. So Nuke, obviously I get the Bears, you get the Eagles. If the Bears win,
okay,
you have to change your Twitter and Facebook main photo to a Chicago Bears oriented photo. So it can't be like a naked dude or something like that. A Chicago Bears photo of my choosing.
Oh, okay.
And if the Eagles win, I will put up on my Twitter and Facebook the Eagles photo of your choosing.
Saint Nick? Big Dick Nick?
That's fine. As long as it's not like him, like some, like his face photoshopped on like Dirk Diggler or something. But no nudity. Let's just put that out there. Just
no,
I don't know.
Just
PG
nudity only.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go PG, right? Or PG-13.
That's fine. Like I'll probably just put up a picture. I'll put a picture of, you know, Khalil Mack just decapitating Nick Foles or something. I know people
which might happen.
Yes, I know people who can Photoshop. But do you agree to those terms?
Absolutely.
Done deal.
I thought you were gonna like make me eat like a. You're gonna like send me some like nasty Chicago specific drink, or I'd send you a Philly cheesesteak or something.
And you have to leave that as your main photo until said team loses.
Oh, that's my brand, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right.
So if the Eagles win, I have to leave up your Eagles picture as my main profile picture until the Eagles lose.
Okay, but if we win, I get to tell you to put a picture of me turning 2 as your picture.
All right, fair enough. You dirty dog. That's why I like this. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. If the Eagles beat the Bears, I will put up your prize picture of you turning 2 as my Twitter and Facebook avatar. I will find.
Oh God! I hope the Eagles come through.
I'm going to find an awesome picture for you to put up when the Bears win. But
I hope it's a picture of you.
I will find.
I will picture of you turning 2. So you shoot.
Kevin, if the Bears win, I'm definitely going to go outside and give my wife my camera and be like, "You got to get this. Hold on." And I'm going to take
freaking amazing.
It should be you popping bottles of champagne on your front lawn.
I'm going to be turning 2. Or I might find my old St. Rita High School water polo team picture.
Oh, I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, so that is the deal. I don't even know how long we've been on right now. It's got to have been an hour.
It's been an hour. That was a good show.
But real quick, though, because all we mentioned was AJ Pollock, but is there any other – we've talked briefly in our comment section or our chat – the Cubs, I mean, yeah, it's great to think that the Cubs can sign one of these guys. We all know Theo walks on water. I saw it on the cover of the Sun-Times. But they really need bullpen help. Mm-hmm. And Aldo expressed that too, and I know he'd be happy that I brought it up because I feel like it's not getting really talked about enough. But this Cub team is already built to contend. And what they need to get over that hump is they need an arm. Like, they need bullpen help. So I know, Nuke, you were going over who's still available. If you're Theo, who are you targeting to do that bullpen help?
Oh, man. I mean, that's the wild part is there's so much. I mean, Adam Ottavino is still out there. He's one of those high-priority guys. Zach Britton is still out there. Jake Diekman. Excuse me. When he was with Sergio Romo. I mean, some of these guys, like Romo, has had to reinvent himself a little bit after getting cut by the Dodgers, but he was lights out with Tampa Bay. And he's good. And Jake Diekman is one that stands out with me too. Sometimes he struggles a little bit, but man, he's got this weird, like condor, like almost very similar to Chris Sale, where he's got this crazy delivery, long limbs, balls coming out of nowhere, hard thrower. I mean, there's just so much out there. And this is kind of what I was mentioning pre-show about the White Sox, is that, like, if we don't land one of those big guys, you still have so many players out there that can help you, like AJ Pollock. I'm going to say Adam Jones a little bit. Nick Markakis. But, I mean, like pitchers, you got Dallas Keuchel, who's still out there, and you've got all these relievers who are still out there. I mean, there's just too many to name. So, a lot of these dominoes got to fall. Like we said at the beginning of the show, I think we only have how many players that have signed a contract of 3 years or longer?
The tickblitz.com stat of the week, that would be 8. Tickblitz.com.
You're welcome. So I mean, like, there's still so much out there that could be picked up and made your team and really helped your team to improve. The one big thing I wanted to talk about with the Cubs, and I don't mean to switch gears too much here, but I'll make it quick. But Zoe, you kind of mentioned the winning window for the Cubs and taking that big risk. And I know, like, Kevin, totally agree with you that the longer this drags out, the more time it gives the Cubs to jostle position, make trades. Same with LA, same with New York. Just kind of figure out, does Bryce Harper fit with us? Do we really want him? Who can we move? How can we restructure our payroll and still remain under that penalty zone, the CBT? But when you saddle yourself, if the Cubs saddled themselves with a 10-year contract, or let's call it 8 or 7, let's go with 7 because there'll be opt-outs. A huge contract like that, 7 years. Now, there's not only that you have to deal with, but then you got to deal with, how do we hold on and pay Chris Bryant? How do we pay Kyle Schwarber? How do we pay Javi Baez and Contreras and some of the other players? How do we do that? So then, like, you're making that big deal, and how long are you going to have them for in that winning window?
But you're also going to be shedding payroll in 2021 with John Lester too, which is a large chunk. I mean, I'm not sure when Hayward finishes up. But yeah, honestly, dude, I don't think that there's no chance. I don't think the Cubs are going to keep I think 2 of those guys will not be with the Cubs in 2022. I think if the Cubs sign Bryce Harper, I really don't think that I think Chris will end up in Boston. I think that he'll end up out of Chicago. I don't, obviously I know nothing about it. That's just me speculating, but I think that just someone's going to have to bite the bullet and saddle off under the sunset somewhere else, because it's just impossible. And granted, this is all, I'm assuming that the Cubs don't actually develop some of their young arms. I mean, if there's anything now that they've, when they started the trend of drafting bats, everyone now jumped to drafting, mature bats. Well, while everyone's jumping on these mature bats, the Cubs are jumping on the young arms again. And so perhaps, the cycle that the Cubs were quick to jump on might save them some payroll with arms later and allow them to pay these bats. But I don't see it.
That's a fair point. And I've also seen a couple people report, as soon as Harper puts ink to paper, Theo is like putting Chris Bryant in a like airtight sealed room. Like, we're working on your extension right now. As long as Harper's not signing to the Cubs, like, as soon as Harper signs somewhere else, Theo is going to start this extension process with Chris Bryant.
So maybe that odd man out's Rizzo, because Chris can shift over to first.
Or Javi.
Maybe.
Or Javi.
No, do you think they're going to – well, I mean, I guess you could make the same argument for Javi Baez and Chris Bryant as, like, they're just Cubs,
Chris Bryant won his MVP. Javi came in second.
That's true. I mean, it's true. And like, a lot will be told. A lot of the story will be written this upcoming year with, can Javi Baez repeat what he did last year?
Yes.
Because we were all waiting for that to happen last year, where he would just fall off the cliff and go back to being Javi Baez.
The show was very pro Javi Baez, thanks to Aldo.
But we were. Yeah. I mean, he's the best tagger in history, right? So, but by doing this, don't you exacerbate the Jason Hayward problem? Yeah, I know I was going Ryan Howard. Jason Hayward problem. Don't you exacerbate that? Oh my God, we have this huge contract and we can't get rid of it.
Stop saying exacerbate.
Well, I think that the Jason Hayward contract might be another reason why, general managers are leery about these big deals. I think they're seeing the Cubs so hogtied right now that they're like, hey, let's not be them. Let's go 6 years with this or 5. Because the Cubs, if there's no Hayward contract, if the Hayward contract's off the books, I think that Bryce is a done deal.
Yes, I would agree.
And Hayward's costing them down the line, which, hey, I'm going to tell you this right now. His speech during the rain delay was worth every penny that he gets in that salary a million times. Every jersey, every World Series hat, every piece of apparel that they probably made, they made up that contract. It's fine. I said that to myself. Now we're looking at it, though. It's now defining a different part of the Cubs storybook, which is they could land arguably the best player in baseball besides Mike Trout, and they can't. They're stuck with their hands tied behind their back because they've got an outfielder that can't hit better than 260, 265, 270. Excellent defender, but you don't pay for defense. You pay for runs, and right. Now they're stuck.
So, where are you?
I'm here.
You there?
I'm just making sure that this bet is official.
So just want to make sure that you.
Or did you go official social?
Yes, it's on Twitter.
Oh,
now.
you did?
Yep, it's on Twitter now.
I'll retweet it.
I'm already in my
I'll
head.
let you know.
The most ridiculous photos I can take to make it. I'm thinking something with a cardigan, a pipe.
No, you put it out, you silly you.
So I think on that note, that's a great way to wrap it. Thank you very much, Kevin, for filling in for Aldo. Aldo hopefully is having safe travels. And just remind everyone, tickblitz.com, TIXBLITZ.com, promo code Mockery. You're literally going to save money, no fees, no any of that shit. Guaranteed tickets or your money back, fools. So tickblitz.com. As always, if and when Harper and Machado sign, no matter where it's at, you're going to find me on Periscope. You can find all of our Twitter handles at the mothership, at PinwheelsIvyPod on Twitter. You'll find all of us there. Kevin, what's your Twitter handle? Just so, because I don't think it's on our bio.
At KFidds.
At KFidds. Sox fans, if you want to go yell at someone, Kevin loves it. So at KFidds.
Bring it.
But yeah,
I'll be Dan Clark.
Make sure you're following all of us. Like I said, as soon as something happens, good or bad, I'll be on Periscope giving rapid reactions. So will Nuke and Aldo if they can. I know Kevin will probably just go on and laugh for like 15 minutes and then just get off.
I almost went on Periscope today just because it was so absurd. I was almost like, I feel like I needed to give a reaction.
You should be jumping on Periscope. People love that shit. So, yeah.
All right, boss.
Yep. So for Kevin, for Nuke, I'm Zoe. Aldo, we miss you. That's Pinwheels and Ivy. We'll see you guys next week. Take care of each other, Chicago.
Peace.
Bear down.